Hello everyone and welcome. Today I am reviewing the Loreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation. This is almost an empty tube and I haven't used it in a long time, so I'm curious to see why I kept it. I had trouble getting it out of the tube, so I shook it and shook it and shook it and squeezed it and squeezed it, and finally a glop just shot out into my hand. So it's all over my fingers, all over my hand, and I end up putting on more product than I actually would have normally. But while applying it, I'm stippling it around, making sure to push into the skin, making sure I don't miss any places. You can see my fingers there are covered in foundation. That's alright. I always try to make sure I get around the nose and everywhere. I try to pay special attention to around the edges to make sure that's well blended in. I try to make sure I spend special attention on my wrinkles and fine lines. Nothing looks worse than a wrinkle full of makeup just jumping out at you. I have very severe wrinkles on my forehead. I usually use my fingers with very little product on them just to get a little color up there so that my face more or less matches. I hate makeup in wrinkles. It ages you so badly. There I am using the rest of the stuff all over my hand. Didn't really want to waste it. It was already out of the tube. There's a lot of things you can't put back in the tube. I like the finish of this foundation. It's light. You really can't tell that you're wearing it. It is a light to medium coverage. It's not drying at all. Let's see, the tube says the finish is radiant, which I agree with that. It says lasting glow foundation that's never dull and never greasy. I agree with that also. They say it wears up to 24 hours. I'll just have to take their word for it because I'm not about to wear it 24 hours. They claim to have medium coverage. I believe it's a light to medium, but you could build it to medium. The texture, they claim, is air light. Now I'll agree with that. It is very light. It's very comfortable. I am using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer, Dark Circle Eraser, in Fair. It's almost empty, and I'm glad because I have had this thing so long that it still says new. You know, the packaging says new. I'm going to get a different kind next time. I don't know, I just really have not been that thrilled with this, or actually concealer in general. I find like if you put too much product on top of each other and layer it up, it's going to be like your house roof. If you keep re-roofing it and you never strip the old ones off, it's going to collapse. Well, it may not collapse, but it looks worse when you pile stuff on, especially if you're over 50 like me. Good God. I always thought I'd be dead by now. Unbelievable. But, yeah, the next concealer I get is going to have a wand, so I can maybe have better control over the distribution and the amount of the product. I never was too fond of this spongy applicator. It seems like it, I don't know, would be wiping away more than it's depositing. I started on the inside and the outside of the corners because that's where it's the darkest. So I really concentrated the concealer there and not so much under my actual eye because they don't need to be looking older. And from there I move on to the Jerome Alexander Magic Minerals Powder Foundation palette. Comes with that little brush. I got it at the dollar store. The neat thing about this is it matches anybody. It doesn't come in different colors, or at least it didn't when I bought it. And it has color correctors in it that somehow just magically match everybody. I have to powder my cheeks so that I can put the bronzer and the blush and the highlight. I don't want it skipping or dragging or getting muddy. So I'm using my highlight kit from Maybelline. It's in Fair. I have had that thing for years. I'm using a Wet n Wild contour brush. Yeah, the palette I use is very well used. I don't have a lot of makeup. I don't have multiple palettes. I just have this one, so that's why it looks old as hell, because it's old as hell, like me. I like to feel my cheekbone with the brush. I don't want my bronzer to be too low on my cheeks. It's there supposedly to help define my cheeks, so I try to get it up there on my cheekbones where it belongs. At least that's where I think it belongs. I start just under the bone and then work up. Oh yeah, you can't forget your jaw, or I can't. Getting old as hell. It's starting to sag right there. So I've been experimenting with different creams, see if I can keep that from getting worse. But hopefully the bronzer on there distracts and tones it down to where you're not looking right at it. I like to get under my jaw and blend with my foundation and down my neck so that it looks somewhat real and somewhat like me. I hate my forehead. Oh my gosh. If I wasn't so scared of needles, I'd consider Botox. If I could afford it. No, I wouldn't. I'm too scared of needles. So I'm just contouring there a little bit, trying to push the wrinkles back into the background where you're not staring at them. Making sure that I don't get too much bronzer in the wrinkle itself, because I don't need lines drawn across my forehead for everybody to be looking at. I'm using the bronzer from that same palette and trying to give my hooded eyes a little lift and a little less droopy sagginess. I don't always wear eyeshadow. In fact, most of the time I skip it. I've just been playing around with it here lately. I don't think I have seen anybody that has eyes as severely hooded as mine. And those scars on each side don't help either. It looks like my eyelashes are actually holding up my eyelid. It's terrible. Now I'm taking that same bronzer color from that same Maybelline palette and just trying to lightly bronze my nose so that it doesn't look so big, and try to maybe make it look a little bit straighter than it is. The end is so big, it's terrible. Is it just me, or does anybody else think their nose is getting bigger with age? I think that's where it's growing. You don't need a lot of makeup tools or a lot of makeup to be able to do your full face. As you can tell, I'm doing most of it with just that one little palette from Maybelline and very limited brushes. I've got a little more bronzer on my sponge. It's a dry, round sponge that I've just run across the bronzer color in that palette. I like to dab it with a sponge after a brush to make sure that it's well blended. You don't see any streaks. The blending helps it look a little more realistic, a little more natural. I actually do the same thing with the blush here in a minute. Make sure if you contour your nose, you don't forget to blend that out. You can't just leave a stripe on your nose. Well, I mean, you could, but I wouldn't want to be the one to tell you that you forgot to blend it out. And I wouldn't want to walk in front of a mirror and just noticed that I've been walking around with stripes on my face. So always check that. This is a blush from that same light to medium Maybelline palette. This is not my powder brush. This is the same type of brush though. It's a nice light brush. It's from Jerome Alexander. I don't like to go too heavy on the blush right away. I don't really like clown face. I dab the color in the area that I want it to try and distribute it a little bit more evenly, and then blend that all together. And there I am with my sponge and a little bit more blush on the actual sponge itself. It's the same sponge I used for the bronzer, however, I'm using the other side. And I'm doing a lot of patting and pushing that color into the foundation, blending it with the bronzer. I'm always losing something. There it is. That is a Wet n Wild highlighter in Blossom Glow. I like to use the highlighter almost like a blush topper to bring a lot of light to the top of the apples of my cheeks because I wear glasses. And I like to bring more light to my face and try to distract from the glasses themselves. I'm tapping once again to distribute it, tapping very lightly first. I'm turning the brush as I'm tapping to try and get it evenly distributed. Again, pushing into the blush and the foundation. I put a little right under my eyebrows to give that a little highlight. I'm trying to draw some attention up away from my hooded eyes. The inside corner of my eyes is dark, so I put a little there to try and lighten that up a little so my eyes don't look so sunken in. A little bit on the lid so that when I blink it looks like there might be something there. Got a little highlight in between my eyes and down my nose. Down my nose to make it look straighter, and between my eyes to try and draw attention up. I do my Cupid's bow really, really well. It looks excessive right now, but I pat it in, and I need it because if you notice, my top lid is almost non-existent. The only thing it's got going for it is that nice Cupid's bow. When I line my lips, I have to overline the top lip just slightly so that it shows up. I make sure I get the corners because my mouth is small and I want to be able to show it off as best as I can. I use the same lip pencil for everything. I've been using it for months and months. I don't run out and buy like 14 eyeliners and 20 lip pencils. If I need a lip pencil, I go get one. That's how it is in real life. My eyebrow brush used to have a handle. Used to have teeth too, so you could comb your eyelashes, but those all broke. But the brush part still works. My eyebrows are growing in from where I had them tweezed very thin. I'm lucky that they are growing back, but they're not growing back at the same rate. I think I'm going to have to trim one. I'm just brushing lightly through the eyebrow hairs, and if there's a little bald spot, I'm just barely lightly touching that to put a little color on my skin so that it's not quite so obvious that there's a bald patch. This is the eyebrow I think I'll have to trim. It seems much longer than the other one, and it stands up much better than the other one. So now that I finally have some eyebrows growing in, I'm going to have to figure out how I want to trim them, I guess. I like this brow gel from Believe Beauty. It's in the color light brown. It has a nice, small spoolie. When you first pull the wand from the tube, the color looks ridiculously light. Like nobody's eyebrows are that light. But it does dry down to a darker shade, which I think looks good for me. It holds your brows in place when it's dry. I haven't had it flake or get in my eyes or anything like that. So that was a good buy, good find for me. It's the first brow gel I've ever had, so I wasn't really sure what I was looking for. So I wanted to get one that was inexpensive. This is the LA Colors Lock-In Lip Color in the shade Goth Chick. I don't usually wear it because it's real dark. It lasts a pretty long time though. not, well, it's pretty fair for the price. I just don't, the color's just too dark, I believe, for me. I have a jumbo pencil from LA Colors. I like to use a white or light eyeliner on the waterline around the base of my lashes at the bottom to attempt to make my eyes look bigger. They're very small, and with the hood, they just look smaller. So with the lighter color, it kind of makes them look bigger, I think. Let me know in the comments if you think it looks terrible. I was so excited when I was filming this video that I left this part out. I left the mascara out. I left the lip gloss out. I left out my check-in after lunch. I've been excited. I got an email a little while ago. Well, not a little while ago, but a little while ago. And I just hope everything works out like I'm hoping. Very, very excited. I don't want to say what it is, but I will, if it works out, you'll know. I'll let you know. I'll be too excited to keep it to myself. This lip gloss is from Believe Beauty, and it's the color Uptown Girl. It's a nice lip gloss. I won't get it again. I was hoping it was a more of a non-transfer liquid lip, but it's not. It's a gloss. I mean, it's a nice lip gloss, but lip gloss just isn't my thing. I don't buy them ever on purpose, but it's nice. Like for days when I don't wear too much makeup, I can just slap a little foundation, lip gloss, eyebrows, and I'm out the door. I am using the LA Colors HD waterproof mascara. I'm using a very, very tip to attempt to get some color on my teeny tiny lower lashes. Most of the time, I don't put any mascara there. I find it either it transfers, or it gets smudged all over, or I poke myself in the eye. Something always happens. But with the very tip, I actually get more, I think, on the lash line than I get on the actual lashes. And I usually make a mess. My eyelashes are naturally curly. People say that I'm really lucky to have them naturally curly. I don't think I am, because I think it would be a lot easier to apply mascara if they were straight. When I'm applying this mascara, I'm starting at the very, very root of the lashes, and I'm wiggling it back and forth before pulling it up through the lashes so that I can deposit some mascara almost there on the tight line. Makes the lashes look fuller. It usually takes me about 3 coats of mascara on the top lashes to make them look good. I wouldn't dare put a second coat on the bottom lashes. That would be asking for disaster, for me anyways, because my bottom lashes are curly too. Not fun. I need a lash straightener. I'm always losing something. The setting spray is from Wet n Wild. It's in the natural finish. I've tried the Prime and Mist Cucumber and the Rose. I don't like those as well. Can you hear my maxi back there? Okay, it has been 7 hours. I can't check in on my phone because for some reason it's doing some serious editing that I didn't think was going to take that long, but it's my own fault. I'm not sure if you can see this very well. I'm in front of my bedroom window on my Chromebook. My mascara is all run, smudged all over. I lost my lips after lunch, so I redid them, and yeah, they're gone again. Iced tea got it. The foundation is showing every single wrinkle I have. It is just settled on in there. So I may have it on a little while longer. I want to make sure this video came out before I wash my face. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. How does this work? Well, it's the end of the night. It looks pretty good. I would definitely recommend it and buy it again. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like this video. Click the bell for notifications, and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you.